In this lesson, we'll be looking at another strategy for simplifying algebraic expressions called the distributive property. Now, you've probably heard this term used or seen it, and often used with numbers. So let's take a look at that just to review what is the distributive property, and then we'll look at how to use it with algebraic expressions. So, something that it's used with, let's say we have the multiplication 6 times 37. 6 times 37 is a bigger multiplication. We might not want to do that easily in our heads, but what we can do is take 37 and split it into 30 plus 7. So we have 6 times, in parentheses, 30 plus 7. And something in the past you've probably seen is taking multiplication and making it into a rectangle so that we're finding the area of the rectangle. And we'd make our height 6, and our width here would be 37, but we can split that into 30 plus 7. And from there, we can see that we can get the area of each individual part to get the whole area. 6 times 30 is 180. 6 times 7 is 42. And notice what we've done really is taken this 6 and multiplied it to each part of that addition in the parentheses. So it became 6 times 30 plus 6 times 7, which was 180 plus 42, and that is 222. If we put 6 times 37 in the calculator, we'd get the same result as this method. We'd get 222. But now let's look at doing that, not with just numbers, but with algebra. So imagine instead of 6 times 30 plus 7, we have 6 times x plus 4. The first thing we can do with this is look at it again with an area model with the rectangle. Our height of our rectangle we'll say is 6. We'll separate this into two parts for our width because it is x plus 4. The first part, we don't know what this number is, but the width is x, and the second part is 4. So if we do that same thing that we did, we can see that we're doing 6 times x, so 6x, and also doing 6 times 4 is 24, which we see allows us to make these arrows, distributing the 6 into this parentheses, making 6x plus 24. So we can use the area model, or we can use the arrows just to show that we're distributing this into the parentheses. Let's look at a few more examples of how to do this. We'll start with this first one, 3 times 3x minus 1. So if we do this, we could make the rectangle like we did in other examples. I'm going to show how to do it without the rectangle here. We see our 3 multiplied by two things, so what we do is take our arrow, multiply 3 by 3x, and 3 by 1. One thing to watch for, just like in combining like terms, always look for the sign on the left side. This isn't positive 1, this is negative 1. So we get 3 times 3x plus 3 times negative 1. And if we simplify that, 3 times 3 is 9, so we get 9x. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, so we can put minus 3. Here, that would be our answer, 9x minus 3. Let's look at a second one, but this one involving some negative numbers. Here we have the number negative 2 multiplied by negative 5x plus 2. So we need to distribute this, a number times a parenthesis with addition. So we bring this in, negative 2 times negative 5x, and negative 2 times positive 2. So we'll do plus negative 2 times 2, and then multiply. Negative 2 times negative 5, if we have a negative times a negative, that is positive 10x. Negative 2 times 2 stays negative, so we do minus 4. 10x minus 4 would be our answer. So all of these, you'll notice, we're just taking that first, whatever's in front of the parentheses that's multiplying, and when there's addition inside the parentheses, we multiply it to each part of that parentheses. Let's look at one more that has multiple variables, x and y. So on the front, we have 3x. Inside, we have y plus 2. So if we look at multiplying this, we're going to take not just 3, but 3x and multiply it by y, and then 3x times 2. So if we write this, we'll have 3x times y plus, we'll write in a different color, 3x times 2. Now, to simplify this, we just want to look at this. This is all multiplying, 3x times y, so we can just write that, 3xy. This is also all multiplying, so would we write 3x2? No. There are two numbers here, and remember, whatever order we multiply things, 3 times 2, 2 times 3, however things are multiplied, if we change the order, the number doesn't change. So here, we can rearrange this as 3 times 2 times x, or 6x. So our final answer would be 3xy plus 6x. Here, we don't have like terms. This is an xy, this is an x, so that would be our final answer. Now, take some time to do the practice activity for distributive property, and then you will be ready to move on to lesson 3, where we'll look at both combining like terms and distributive property and how to use them together.